from Springfield. I'd like to ask each of you why you feel qualified to assume the role of governor in case of a tragedy or some other experiences you're required to do as lieutenant governor.
This question starts first with Sam Page.
Well, I have over 10 years of service in elected office, 4 years on my city council and 6 years now in the House. I have a lifetime of experience of helping people in my medical practice. I've had people come into my office and stack their prescriptions across my desk and ask me, how can I afford these? Which one of these prescriptions can I get rid of? I can't afford them anymore. I've seen the faces and anguish and pain of people in my medical practice who have lost their Medicaid health insurance, who can no longer get the surgeries they need or get the prescriptions they need. I've had discussions with families who have would like to change jobs, would like to be able to get a different job, but they can't. Because if they do, they put their health insurance at risk, and they have family members who have chronic diseases. I have experience in government. I have a lifetime experience of helping people. The governor is in position to try and balance competing interests in the state and move the state forward to make sure we improve access to health care, that every child in the state has the opportunities to go as far as their mind and ambition will take them. The government's doing everything they can to bring jobs into Missouri with jobs with good benefits. Thank you.
Teddy, you'd like your next on this one.
I spent 13 years in the Army. Served overseas, was in charge of millions and millions of dollars worth of equipment, led soldiers. I was a platoon sergeant. That kind of leadership, and plus the common sense leadership of being a working man, I think would help me to understand the problems of the everyday Missourian. We have problems with our health care. I struggle each week, month to pay for my health care. We need health care reform in Missouri. We need to make government smaller so the citizens of Missouri will pay less taxes and have more of their own money to be able to provide for their families.
Peter Kinder.
Why am I qualified? Because I've been doing the job for nearly 4 years, preceded by 12 years in the Missouri Senate, during which I led the body the last 4 years through 3 of 4 of the most difficult budget years in the last 75 years, the downturn between 01 and 04. I'm a fierce campaigner, but when the campaigning is over, I work together with Bob Holden and the then Democratic Majority House for the first 2 of those years to do what's right for the people. It was then that we established the Missouri Senior RX Plan, predecessor to the Mo RX Plan we have now. I have fought for health care and for veterans, and I put on the largest sporting event in the history of our state, all with my little staff of 5 people. My Democratic counterpart in Illinois, my good friend Pat Quinn, has 40 staff members. He has more in his press shop than I have in my whole staff. We've got the Tour of Missouri going. It's a huge economic impact to our state. It's going on this week. We're about to find out what it's like to run a world-class bicycle race in the pouring rain for 3 days. And not the resort weather we had last year. Now, I was very interested in Representative Page's comments about health care and his devotion to it, because there is only one candidate in this race who's voted to cut Medicare, and it is he. On the 13th of March, 2006, he voted against restoring $104 million in Medicaid cuts to the Department of Social Services budget. There were other votes. On the 13th of April, 2005, he sponsored an amendment that would have cut Medicaid funding. Again, April 13th, 2005 on the appropriations bill budget. But most interesting, given the example he just cited about seniors laying their prescriptions and saying, doctor, which one should I take when I can't afford them? I told you about the Mo RX plan that helps low-income seniors with their prescription drugs. And I've been zealously out there for the last 2.5 years and more, taking the message about Mo RX and what a wonderful plan it is. He voted on March 15th, 2006 to cut $6 million from our wonderful Missouri Senior RX program. Those are the facts as reflected in the House Journal that doesn't lie.
We'll have a chance for rebuttal here, Sam Page.
Well, I think we're all going to be talking about our voting records over the next 53 days now. And we all will look at these amendments and these bills, and all the things that are in them, and sometimes we have to make difficult choices between priorities. The most difficult choice that we've made in the past 3 years is to cut health care for 400,000 people in Missouri. 400,000 people. Now, the current lieutenant governor, the state senior advocate, has said over and over and over that was the right thing to do. I can tell you that people in Missouri disagree. It is not the value system of mainstream Missouri to take away the safety net for 400,000 people with disabilities, children, working families, and seniors. And we'll talk more about these votes, and of course it's easy, I understand it's easy to get Medicare and Medicaid confused. Medicare is a federal program. Medicaid is a state program that is partially funded through the federal government with a 2-to-1 match. The state government has jurisdiction over Medicaid. Medicare is the program that is solely under the jurisdiction of the federal government.
Teddy, Fleck, your opportunity.
I agree that these health care problems need to be looked into, but a lot of their direction is coming from the federal government, and we must ensure that, again, as I had said earlier, that we are not duplicating the problems. I mean, the federal government always talks about their great Medicare and Medicaid plan, but I definitely agree a lot when the cuts were made that the shift went to the federal government because the federal government had already had those programs in place.
I don't know if I, in speaking rapidly, inadvertently said Medicare. Of course I was talking about Medicaid, and of course I know the difference. The facts are there's only one candidate in this race who has voted to cut it, who has votes that show up in black and white in the House Journal to cut Medicaid, even as he voted to increase compensation to doctors like himself, which a lot of lawmakers would have said that is a place where I need to recuse myself for the conflict of interest. In the Senate where I serve, we have a recusal rule. Mr. President, I invoked Rule 91 on the grounds that I have a conflict of interest. You have a like rule in the House. You should have invoked that at the time.
Peter's raised a conflict of interest issue, but our procedures didn't have a rebuttal to the rebuttal there. So we're going to move on to the next question. Yeah.
I'm Dan Steinbeck from the Press News Journal of Canton. Occasionally we hear that the governor, lieutenant governor ought to be a ticket rather than individuals. What is your thought on that? Should you run as individuals or should you run as a mayor?
This question goes first to Teddy Fleck.
To me, it really doesn't matter. I think it would be up to, I would put that up to the people of Missouri. I could go either way with that. You know, with the federal politics, the president always picks vice president. I really have no problem if Missouri would do that, but it would be up to the citizens. Let the citizens vote on that.
Peter King.
Well, as a matter of law, constitutional law, it has to be a vote of the people because it would require a change in the Constitution. I don't support it. I'm comfortable, as I have all my career, paddling my own canoe, and I say leave it the way it is.
Sam Page.
Well, the Lieutenant Governor of Missouri has real responsibilities. The Office of Senior Citizen Advocacy being one of the most important. A dozen boards and commissions, half of them having something to do with health care, real economic development responsibilities. And this separate vote gives people in Missouri a chance to weigh the credentials of individuals. And on occasion, the governor and lieutenant governor don't agree on issues, and the voters will get to weigh those. For example, the current governor on the Republican ticket has very strong opposition to early stem cell research, to an issue that's been controversial in Missouri. And the Republican candidate for lieutenant governor has on occasion supported those therapies.